morning. It is fantastic to be back in person in Washington, D.C. with so many of you in the room. It is truly the best of both worlds. We've got about 1,000 people registered here at the Mead Center for American Theater in Washington, D.C., and thousands more joining us from all around the world online. Welcome. Thank you wherever you are in the world. Thanks for being a part of Devex World. The global development community, of course, knows its calendar well. We have the UN General Assembly in the fall. We have Davos in the winter. There's the World Health Assembly in the spring, and so many more. And at Devex, we thought something is maybe missing. We need the seriousness of purpose that you get from an event that's official, a UN event, something like you see in the image right here. But we want to marry that with the sense of energy, the sense of changing the world, the sense of fun that you get from a Silicon Valley tech conference. And that's, if you can imagine those two conferences came together and had a baby, it would be Devex World. That is what we are all about today. So I hope you're in for a lot of fun. Speaking of children, of babies, I wanted to show you this photograph and see if it's recognizable to some of you. I think this young girl is someone that many of you, or at least a few of you, might recognize. I'm looking around the room. But we should all know who this is because we all actually have a very deep personal connection to this young girl. I will tell you more about that in a minute. But first, I want to talk about stories and headlines. As the editor-in-chief of a news organization, that's how I think. And I thought to myself, what's the headline for Devex World? And when you talk to global development leaders, I think you'll find there's a tremendous sense of uncertainty right now. There's a sense that there are many overlapping crises. We have a crisis of food, of debt, of energy. We have an evolving crisis of COVID, of conflict, of climate, and another C, the Cold War with China, budding in the development sector. And so all of these combine into an idea that perhaps there's a new normal in global development, and maybe that new normal isn't really what we want it to be. Maybe it's a normal that's tremendously challenging. And so just a couple of data points. I could give you hundreds about how challenging the moment is that we find ourselves in right now. But just a couple that maybe show how stark it is. Before the pandemic, 53% of 10-year-olds could not read a simple sentence. And now it's 70% of 10-year-olds in the world. Right? It's a shocking statistic. We have another statistic here for you, which is from a recent poll of young Africans who were asked whether they plan to leave their own country. And 2/3 in a very recent poll said they plan to emigrate in just the next few years. Think of all of that tremendous talent of young people and where they see their future. So there's enormous challenges. But when I think about those challenges, I also remember how the world has addressed them in the past. And this is a photograph from 1944 from the Bretton Woods Conference. It was held at a hotel in New Hampshire. World War II was still going on. And world leaders said, we need to reimagine the global architecture, the financial system, the monetary system. The organizations that global development today is built on were largely born then, the IMF and the World Bank. And then in 2015, leaders got together again and said, we need to have a set of goals that the world can get around together, a set of sustainable development goals. And these should be goals that are aspirational and will take 15 years to get there. That's a long time, but we can get there by 2030. In fact, right now, we're all here gathered at the midpoint of that. We are right at the precise midpoint. To commemorate it, I'm wearing some SDG running shoes, by the way, to remind us that we are still in a race to get there. But the truth is, the numbers look pretty bad. The chances of achieving the sustainable development goals, they don't look very good. We're really off track. So the question that I want to pose to all of us is, we're gathered here today in Washington and online. What can inspire us from these prior crises, from these prior moments of tremendous challenge? What can we as a global development community do to maybe change the trajectory or even to change that headline? Can we build a better normal for global development? Can we imagine something different? And when you're faced with a tough question like this, often the best thing I find to do is just to call a friend. And so if this works, and I hope it does, I thought I'll give a call to a friend of mine and see what he thinks about a better normal for global development. My friend is Kennedy Odede. Some of you may know Kennedy. He grew up in Africa's largest slum, Kibera. He started from nothing and built Shofco, which is now a really important local community-based organization, and Kennedy's working with slum dwellers and informal settlements really around the world. And there he is. Hey, Kennedy.
Hi, Raj. Thank you so much for having me here.
Hey, nice to catch you on your cell phone. I think you're in Cape Town today, is that right?
Yes, I'm in Cape Town today. Yes.
Well, just pretend it's you and me and there's not thousands of people watching. I just want to know, when you think about this crazy global development sector that we're in, that you get to witness, both at the local level and I see you at global convenings all the time, what do you think we can do to reimagine it? How can we frame this as a better normal for global development when there's so much crisis in the world right now?
Thank you, Raj, and for having me today. And hello, everyone. I am Kennedy Odede, founder of Shofco, Kenya's largest grassroots movement of the poor. As you said, Raj, we are facing unprecedented challenges: famine, food crisis, inflation, political instability, COVID, and recovery. The problems have never been more daunting, the stake never higher. Our children and children around the world are at risk of living in poor conditions. And children are living in really poor conditions, and the ones are at risk of living in a potential war, you know what I mean? But this is also a moment where we have a new and undervalued solution. I grew up in Kibera slums, and I can say the opportunity of putting those who have experienced the challenges in the position to solve them is a game changing. For the first time, we could actually end problems that are experiencing, like poverty and a persistent lack of dignity. So, what is better? I want to challenge you all today. If our sector can truly shift, not just talk about it, but really shift power, resources, and decision making to proximate leaders to communities on a transformational scale, new innovations, solutions, and a new world is within reach. So instead of talking about 25% of resources or 20% of resources to local leaders, let's talk about 80% or more. Let's fundamentally change how and who solve the most pressing problems of our world today. Then I believe in the power of human potential. We will unlock catalytic new solutions. Those who wear the shoes, they know where those shoes pinch. And we can design a new shoe, a new vision for our world and for our communities. Thank you, Raj.
Thank you, Kennedy. I knew it would be worth calling you up on the phone. Thank you for taking my call. Thank you, Kennedy. See you, buddy. I think Kennedy helped to inspire us that there is another way to see these issues, especially from somebody who's so close to them every day. I just want to share a couple more data points since I gave you a couple of really big challenges. Here are a couple that maybe can show you what's possible. Did you know during the pandemic, 800 million people got connected to the internet for the first time? For the first time in just a couple of years. We are now at about 5 billion people on Earth who are connected to the internet. Now there's tremendous inequalities and gaps in access, of course. But think of the opportunity for all the organizations here today who work on telehealth, or who work on distance learning, or who look at economic opportunities and financial inclusion. Think about 800 million new people online in just 2 years and what is possible. Also, look at this chart, which I took from Bill Gates' recent book on pandemics, and how much more quickly the world has been able to develop vaccines. And that's maybe the real star of this period of challenge we've just gone through with COVID. It's so quick compared to historical perspectives. The fastest before now was mumps, the mumps vaccine. And this is Geraldine Hillman, who we all have a connection to because, in fact, her father was the virologist who developed the vaccine for mumps, and he developed it by taking the strain of virus of mumps from her. And that very same strain, if you've had the MMR vaccine, which I'm guessing everyone in this room and probably almost everyone listening online has had, you've had Geraldine's strain in you. So we all have this tremendous personal connection, and I hope it gives you a sense of possibility, as anytime you see you see kids and you hear about these kinds of innovations, I think you get a sense of what's really possible in the world. So with that in mind, I wanted to show you some more baby pictures. These are some kids who didn't know it at the time, but they ended up becoming my Devex colleagues. So this is long before they knew they'd be joining an independent news organization covering global development and global health and humanitarian response and sustainability. And they're a little older now. Our team is, I guess, 140 people or so around the world right now. And what we're doing every day is in a way connected to that picture of Geraldine because we're trying to immunize the global development community too. We're trying to immunize this community against a sense of apathy or against a sense of misinformation, a lack of accountability, or really a sense of despair that nothing can change. And we're using our tools of journalism to bring that to you every day. This is the team that broke the story of excess mortality data being withheld at the WHO because of political pressure from the Indian government, that broke the story of impact investing gone wrong at UNOPS, that highlighted some disparities in pay for women at USAID that led to some important rule changes there. This is the team that figured out how to give free access to all of our career content and job information to the Peace Corps volunteers very quickly when they were sent back home during COVID and they had no job to go back to. And this is the team that connects hundreds of organizations, local NGOs, many of you here, global corporations, to funding, to grants and contracts and opportunities across this diverse development sector. We do all this. We publish the newsletters that are in your inbox every day, and we do all this for all of you. I hope you get a chance to meet a lot of those DevXers today. We have many from all over the world who've flown in here to Washington, D.C., and many who are joining online as well. I hope you get a chance to talk with them. I'm really, really proud of what this team has accomplished. And I just want to mention some of the other people you're going to get a chance to meet today. We have young leaders joining us in person and online, and I hope you'll connect with them too, from Atlas Corps, from the Donald M. Payne International Development Fellowship Program, from Opening Doors Training Program, and the Adolescent Girls Advisory Council. So please say hi to them. I think you all know the African proverb that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. That is certainly our ethos as an organization at Devex. And that's really how we view partnership. And an event like this could not happen without tremendous partners. And I just want to take a moment to really thank them. We have innovation partners, the PepsiCo Foundation, Smile Train, World Food Program USA, and World Vision, Changemaker partners, Action Against Hunger, and MSD for Mothers. We have a reception tonight, and our partner for that is Food for the Hungry. And we have a number of underwriting program partners who have really helped to build the program that you're all going to get to experience today. The Global Health Advocacy Incubator, Atlas Network, GCI Health, Peace Corps, RTI, and UNOJA. We have a travel partner, Diversity Travel, and a fellowship partner in the Global Fund for Women. So I hope you take a moment to just help me thank those incredible partners for making this event possible.